Hey boys, welcome to the weekly review. This week we had the long expected pullback and it held to where I thought it would hold, meaning the previous week low. Had a V rally back up and it's looking incredibly bullish. We also had a depth ceiling tentative deal announced, and while I expect a short-term pullback on Monday or Tuesday, is looking super bullish. Like everything I saw on Delta and the volumes is bullish as fuck, and I'm gonna show it to you in a few minutes. But just for the recap here, so what I expect to happen next week is a short-term pullback. There's the option of gapping up when we on Monday because of the depth ceiling news, but don't really think that that's very likely. And if it does, uh, that makes it more likely that we get a rejection that we continue going up. So I would not like to see a gap up on Monday, and I think that's a definite fade. Uh, but if we obviously depends on how high it goes. Let's say we do this, I don't know, 423, 424, a size 425. How much is 425, for example, compared to Friday's close? What am I doing? This like a 1% gap up, it's 125%, but the 1% gap up is something very bearish from my point of view, and I think we get a pullback for sure. So most of the time, if the market has momentum and continues to be bullish, it will always retrace to the AVWAP from the previous low. For example, here, see, it hugged this one. It went below it briefly, but doesn't really matter that much. Or here, we can take whichever one we want, that one, but maybe this one as well. Clicking random buttons here instead of the ones I should be clicking. Like this, retest, then it becomes support, and so on. And this is a common pattern. This one I think is also a view up retest. If we put it from here, no, it actually became resistance. This one is almost certainly an AV up retest here. So you get the idea. If we get a pullback and we continue to be bullish, this will be the support level we will hit. And keep in mind that this is a moving target, not it won't be static. Uh, Assuming the market opens, it will maybe go like this, and most likely it's going to align with this level here, like this. So 417 is the buy because it's a natural pullback. Keep an eye on the AVWAP from this low here on the 24th of May, and that's kind of it. So the pullback scenario is this. I think we get it no matter what, regardless of if we gap up or not. We go this, then we go up, and I think we get to 425 this week. A gap up is not bullish from my point of view. A move up is a fade. So 425 is the new very overbought level from a delta perspective, and I think we get a rejection here, and the target still is that like 417. We need to catch up with this AVWAP, and the higher it goes without a pullback, the more brutal the pullback will be. Like and it has a chance to not hold on the AVWAP. So let's say we pull back and then we go up. This is almost a certainty that it will happen. Like we bounce here and then we go up. But if we go up all the way up here, when we drop, it's gonna be like a rocket down, and it most likely will overshoot. Maybe holds on the previous week mid as well. I haven't moved the mid, high, and low levels because they are virtually the same. We had a small overshoot up, and we have a small overshoot down, but nothing really that interesting. So support here confluent with AVWAP, then we go up, If we gap up, then expect a big drop to the same target, so 425 to 417-ish, but most likely 415-ish, so another 10-point drop, which would be very nice. Looking back at historical precedent, we have this breakout here, and this reminds me of the Tesla stock split rally that ended in September. This type of move usually reverses at the turn of the month, and the turn of the month is next week. I don't think it will be exactly on the first or the second, something like this, but on starting the week of the 5th, I think, and depending on how high we are, the higher we are, the more likely this is to reverse strongly down, because quarterly expiration and whatnot. uh, we should get a pullback. It's very complicated from this perspective because with how bullish individual names are and how much room they have to go up for stuff that is bid down. Let's go to value and pick CLF. Well, if everything that looks like CLF uh, goes up and they break out and everything like that, then they will go up a lot. Shorts will begin covering like this. This won't be a small move up. It will be a full blown short cover rally, and it's not CLF. It's everything like tech. It's Carvana. This actually looks better than than CLF. But all the shit stock that is down will get a short covering rally, and if we get that going, it's gonna go incredibly bullish. And I don't see mega caps stopping either. So if everything goes up, like we get a short covering rally in the bid down names, and mega caps continue to rallying, like we're talking 2 to 3% days up in the market as well. And I don't really see how that will work out. Like it's virtually impossible to go above 425 in the short term. Like in the next 2 weeks, that should be the cap for our rally. So how does this work? How can individual names go up as they should because they're beat down as hell, and the flows are bullish. Everything is pointing to a big rally in individual names. How can mega caps go up because same reason, and but the market is capped at something else. Like will QQQ go to 460 next week? Sorry, not 460, 360, 370. Next level would be this gap fill start here, 356, and then 360, and then 370. Like if all of that happens, both QQQ and SPY, QQQ should go to like to 370 in the next week or so, next 2 weeks, and SPY should go like to what, 430. And I'm having a hard time uh, reconciling this in my head. And most likely it's not going to happen. And the reason why I brought up the Tesla uh, move here, the blow off top here, that happens at the end of the month, is because it's followed by a strong reversal. So what I expect to happen is we get that crazy another 1 to max 3 days of 1 to 2% days. It depends. Like let's actually use this as a reference. So let's say this is the equivalent of Friday. We got a 1% up day, and Friday was 1.3%. Then we get a 0.22, a 0.65, a small pullback, and then another couple of 1% days. This is how I expect things to play out as well here. So we get another, I don't know, maximum 3% up on the market in total, and most likely is going to come in a single one or two candles, and the last one is going to be a gap up and probably go or reversal, doesn't really matter, like either like this, a gap up and stay, and a gap up and reject. Like this was a huge gap up here up to 364, and this might happen on Monday actually because of the dip ceiling. This is the scenario where I said the market, if it goes up, we faded. This is exactly what I expect to see if the market, let's say, goes to 423, 425 on Monday because of the dip ceiling deal. this is what will happen most likely. If we get a slow pump, like 0.5%, 0.2, then it's slowly building up toward an explosion up. And that explosion up will be 1 or 2 days like this. And that should happen more towards the end of the week, I'm assuming. So this is the reasoning. It's expect the market reversal to come at the beginning of the month. And that's kind of it. Another thing to note, which I've been looking at the monthly, is this. This is the MACD crossover on the monthly. We're building up to it, and it has never happened in a bear market without crossing into a bull market. If we go to, actually, let's go to SPX because SPY doesn't go that far back. In 2000, we never had a crossover. Actually, we never had a bear market in which a large bear market, I mean, in which we didn't cross into negative territory, and we are not in negative territory now, and we're even doing a crossover or threatening to do a crossover in the next month or two. So when this never happened, and things continue to be bearish. If this happens, I will have to reconsider my bearish position because I think it can continue until next year, basically, the bullish phase. It obviously depends on economic conditions, but you get the idea. So same here. It wasn't bullish. It wasn't bearish after this crossover. It wasn't bearish after this crossover, even though there were pullbacks. Same here. It was never bearish after the crossover. So we'll have to keep an eye out. It will probably take 1 or 2 months to get the crossover of continued bullishness. So May, probably June as well. It will happen in June if June is bullish. But I don't expect June to be bullish. So this is kind of the setup. Now let's look at individual names. Quickly review. Apple. So many lines. I have to take some of them out. This one probably doesn't matter anymore. Don't need MACD anymore. Let's put the reversal points back on. Okay, Apple. Let's look at volume. Quite bullish, both in volume and delta, and the main target for next week is 180. And when we look at delta profile, price is 175. The biggest level for calls is 180. So this is almost a guarantee that we will hit it. And I would expect it, we overshoot a bit. Target is 180 to 185. Can even hit 185 if the market is uber bullish. So target for next week is this. And I definitely think if we get there, I think it will try for all-time high as well. So Apple all-time high is the target. If we get another pullback, this trend line will hold. This is a key trend line for both Apple and the market. So let's say we do this. Whenever we go below this trend line and this trend is broken, expect the market to turn within a couple of days. Apple target between 180 and 185, and it will happen next week almost for guaranteed. Okay, Amazon. Amazon and Tesla were the big pumpers on Friday, which brought the market up, and Netflix as well, I see. It hit our 120 target. It has a lot more room to go. Like I keep saying, it has the best delta profile setup. It was 121. Next week we have 125. We have 130. There are also some puts, but the delta profile is still very supportive of this move up. We are at 120, and all of this can still be reached as high as 150. Don't know if it will happen. Don't think it happens next week to 150, but 130 is definitely a possibility here to get to 130 next week. Google. Google had a ton of bullish volume, even long-term volume with this, what's this? January 2024. So 130, again, almost a guarantee. We had a sell here. If we go to lower time frame, we can see it's building a bull flag, like something like this. Actually, I think it broke out on Friday. No, it didn't. But something like this. And it's consolidating for a move higher, I believe. Target is 140 for next week. Volume tells us this as well. Target is 130. Delta profile allows it. It became the biggest level for calls. So I think we get it next week as well. Google, same story. We don't look at it. Meta. Meta is one of the more bearish ones from my interpretation of the options volume. But the tricky thing is we have this gap here, and I'm assuming it's a volume gap. Not really. Like 268 is. I thought it would be a volume gap, but it's not. So if we look at options volume, 260, a small ramp up to 280. If we go to the delta profile, 250, and then it ramps down, and 260 was supposed to be the target. I don't think this allows it to go much higher or at all. I think Meta hits its peak at 262, what was on Friday. If it goes higher, it will be 290. But if it gets here, why not go to 300 or even higher? So if it gets to 290, most likely it will go to 300. This is my lack of faith in everything being so bullish and going so crazy for next week. Like, imagine all of these tickers hit their targets. The market would have to go up like 10% next week. It seems incredible to me. But nonetheless, you can't ignore it, the bullishness. My point would this be is that there have to be some losers, and I think Meta is going to be one of the losers. I think it peaked, but we shall see. Microsoft was looking bullish as well. It hit 330. Option volume was good and allows for further upside. I think the OI profile also allows for more upside up to 350. So Microsoft target is 350, which is all-time high. Just like Apple, I think Microsoft gets to the all-time high and then gets rejected. Doesn't have to be the exact all-time high, but the all-time high area, like this 343. Netflix. So Netflix was looking very good. Lots and lots of volume for 400. And a ton of OI came in last week for 400. So this is our target. It's 378. 400 is something along the lines of this. I say the level is 394, 395 actually, but an overshoot above this level and then reverse seems plausible. Ton of OI for everything. NVDA. This has completely changed. Like 400 is now the biggest level. This was equivalent to this last week, something like this. So it doubled in 1 week. We have also new puts all over the place here. uh, NVDA will still go places. So 400 is also almost a guarantee for a retest next week. And did I delete this? Uh, the only targets we have are Fibonacci levels, and my target would be 411 for this cycle. If it doesn't have a large pullback for the OPEX drop, which it should, considering it's the best performing stock in S&P 500, um, I think we should get at least a retest of the breakout level, which is a 346. So I think 410, 411, then a pullback for OPEX to at least this, if not even lower. It depends what happens with the OPEX pullback, but it's almost certain that we hit 400 plus next week. I scaled this down for that up, sorry, for the screenshot I posted. This is the usual threshold, and on the earnings day it went to 5x. Okay, Tesla. Tesla was also one of the outperformers on Friday. It got to near 200. 200, a target, the main target for next week. It's 193. It was 193 on Friday. That that remains to be our target here. It's also channel resistance. These are overshoots, or I consider them to be overshoots. So we're reaching our channel target and should get a rejection from 200. Why this is our biggest level, and there's not that big of a ramp after it. So you should have a difficult time breaking above 200 and staying above it because not enough of an OI ramp here. But remember that this can change. Like this is a moment in time snapshot of the OI. As we saw with NVIDIA, bullishness brings bullishness and new OI will come in. Don't assume this will be the way it looks next week. So I'm still bearish oil, but I think we get that move up in with everything next week. So it should get to 110 and then drop. Volume was suggesting this as well. A very small volume sample because nobody cares about value stuff right now. Everything is crazy. Everyone is crazy about tech, but it should happen like this. And now I have a selection of names that had uber bullish flows for next week. I didn't see anything that was particularly bearish. First is LYFT, retest of the bottom, recaptured. I hope it does a small pullback on Friday, and it had this huge bullish flows for 10 calls for July and October, like 5x the volume of a regular call. And the setup is very good. Like we're near a bottom. Like I said, it would be nice to get that pullback on Monday instead of the gap up and do something like this, 820, and then it just rockets up. We get first target is this gap fill start. Uh, First target this, and then if the gap fill starts and continues and the market allows it to be bullish, then we have 1044 as the second target. Uber, similar setup, but for 40. Lots and lots and volume for 40C for next week. And we are at 38. Most likely won't see a pullback next week. So 40 is here. Don't expect it to break out, but a move above 40, like a retest of this high here as 40.50, is very likely for next week. Then we have the Chinese trio with Li, huge OI for 43C July. If we look at this, don't think we pull back. Chinese stuff emboldened by the PDD earnings move is turning as well, and is likely going to be bullish. So that was 43C. Where is 43? Something like this. So first target is 30. This one we can ignore. So 30, then 33. XPEV had a similar setup. Lots and volume for 9C for July, but had a near-term volume as well, building a ramp here. And have it here. I think it's also had a buy, not on Thursday. It's near the lows of the range. Think we get a bounce here for sure and go up. First level would be gap fill start, so 878. Then gap fill. This should be easy to do at 9. This area here for sure. Can put it like this. And then this 987. So target 1, target 2, target 3. Neo didn't have any, I mean, it had bullish volume as well, but it also had this huge in the money, no, out of the money put. Yeah, out of the money put for 2.5 for 2025. What's this? It's January 2024, and this is January 2025. This may have been sold, I have no idea, but it shouldn't affect the price movement short term, like the impact already happened. This in the bullish part being short dated should have a much bigger impact as well. And if we look at it, it's still consolidating in this range, building a breakout. So what I expect is we get a breakout here as well. And target 1 is this level here. Target 2 would be this, 878, and target 3, 986. AMD. AMD with the huge 130 volume and interest, it has a OI profile that sort of allows it, but above 130 it becomes very difficult to continue going up, like you see this disappearing. Again, I remind you that this will change as time passes. If it gets to 130, more volume, more OI will pop up, and I forgot to put AMD there. The exponential move here. I would say 143 is the target, and then expect a large correction. Like, I think 110 is the support. Same with the NVDA. Maybe actually it's either this or this. Qualcomm starting to get a lot of bullish volume. It ended where? It ended at 110. This won't happen anymore. $123 seems plausible. This has a lot of room here. It's 110, still has calls up to 120, 125. Actually, it can go to 130 quite easily. But one step at a time. First level is 113 and then 123. PayPal is looking really, really good. Has some nice flows coming in for 72.5 for July. Also has a nice ramp for next week. It looks like shit in the graph, but it's holding on 60, and I don't think it will break down below 60 in a meaningful way. And it should go to the gap fill at 69. Maybe it fills the gap to 75 as well. But we will see. I like it a lot. I opened the position on Friday. We'll see what happens. PDD. I put this one here just to show the earnings gap up, and it got even more volume for even higher. So it closed at 71. We have 75 with one. We have 80. Lots of volume. Delta profiles allows this because it was bid down as hell. It's barely here. 75 is almost a given. I think 80 is almost a given, and above 80 it becomes difficult to go even higher. So probably actually 83 is the target. Once we start taking back this range, it should go to the highs at 83. As a sympathy play, Baba, but all Chinese stuff as well. Very nice volume for next week from 90C. Further out volume for 100 for July. Delta profiles allows it as well. Baba, like all the Chinese stuff, is beaten down. It was 80, I think, 80.97. So it's here. All of this can be turned into price going up. First Solar. So I don't like the other solars that much, but FSLR has this nice curving thing, and once it goes, it will go vertical. Like this won't be a smooth move up like this. No, it will go vertical. And volume for next week, lots of 210, lots of 230 for June. We are holding on 200, so this is the, let's call it the bull bear pivot. As long as we don't break down below 200, this will continue to be bullish. And what's the biggest magnet here is 250, and we can first 220, but the final target would be 250 if the market continues to be bullish further out. For now, I would expect a move back to the highs at 230. 220 is the first target, and then this. G had a lot of volume for next week for 112. It's at 102, and this is bearish until it's no longer bearish, and I think we're getting to the point where it's no longer bearish because it's sideways consolidation. RSI pulled back sufficiently enough to allow another move up, and I think it's ready to break out of this consolidation and have another move up. The window, it tried to go down, but it never managed to go and break the trend. So now I think it's time for another move up, and target is as high as this, like 115, but the actual level is probably this, so 112. Yeah, this support here. Lucid as sympathy for all the other EVs going up. If Tesla goes up, Chinese EVs go up, then I would assume Lucid goes up as well. And it was looking decent, like this consolidation period here, and again when it goes, it will go vertical, and I think it already broke out. It just didn't do the vertical move yet, like this. So we have a breakout, and now we we will be seeing acceleration up, like pull back, then small, 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 big, like here, like you see, same kind of pattern. And then we have small candle, big candle. Same here, small candle, big candle, or like this, building towards it. Then we have SOFI high, which is at 60, and it's looking like a bull flag, or a, I don't know, falling wedge, whatever you want to call it. Let's do it like this. Something like this. And had lots of volume for 60 and 65, and I think it retests 65 next week. I wouldn't expect it to go much further beyond 65. Actually, this has changed. Last time I looked at it, 65 was the cap. Now I think it can go even higher. 70 seems to be plausible. So another leg up for Shopify, very likely to hit this area here and then stop. And SOFI, fine, last but not least, had some decent volume all over the strikes, all over the expiration, sorry, and 5.5, 6. It looks like a double bottom here, bullish divergence. This was like this, and here it was up, and is preparing to break out above this level, recapture it. Once it does, it should go to the next level. There are intermediate levels here. I think this is like 6, and then it should go retest this. An intermediate level, I think it's this one. Yeah, that's the one. So 6 and then 6.3, 6.5, like this was a 0.5 overshoot. So this is the overshoot range. To wrap it up, or to close it out, let's look at SPY. Friday's close was 420, 420, 49? No, 420.02. So first close above 420 in a long time. Because a lot of put data expired, or call data expired, is not that bearish anymore, and the new level is 425 to get the short. Yeah. Let's see, 440. 440 should be 100% on everything. Not everything, but it's 100%. So 440 is an all-in with leverage. Yeah. Okay, that's it for this week. Until next time, have a good day. Good luck next week. Bye.